we both found ourselves homeless. And we really had nowhere to go. Our family was very limited, and we had to seek refuge in an abandoned foreclosed house where we finished the remainder of our high school career. After that happened, I would tell my sister all the time to keep things between us and not to let others know of the situation that we were going through out of embarrassment, really. But she just really couldn't handle it, and she had a nervous breakdown in school. And after that nervous breakdown happened is when she really brought the situation to the attention of people in the school who were there to help us, and people in the school that were there to help us who we never even knew existed before. So after we were paired with a social worker and they were trying to figure out what our situation was like, we met on countless occasions and they offered us resources financially and for housing. But we still refused most of it, not really giving out our full situation out of embarrassment and out of fear of being taken under control of somebody else. So her and I were able to stay homeless, stay living in a foreclosed abandoned house, and graduate high school. Although we were paired with a social worker, and with that social worker, she declared us homeless. Um, so we were able to consider ourselves independent. Now, after I graduated high school with all of the help from school, they really helped push me through. I was grateful to graduate high school, really. I never again imagined myself in college, but when I found myself in a situation that I wasn't happy in, I had to work. I was living in a foreclosed house, but I still had to provide for the water bill, for the electricity, for my clothing, for food, and just for bills. So I immediately had to start working. And with that work experience came exposure of a lifetime, really, where I remember I first started working a job minimum wage, and from that job, I was able to impress people with my work ethic and go into a better job. And at that time, to me, a job was just a vehicle to get things you wanted. I never really understood where opportunity can take you. So I started doing landscape design in Coconut Grove, and I was working for millionaire clients who I would go into their yard, their garden on a daily basis, and pretty much live their life with them. And it was an exposure to me that helped figure out what I wanted to do in my life. I sort of figured out what kind of life I wanted to live and what I needed to do to get that. So I decided to start college. And when I made that decision to start college, it wasn't the easiest one to make because I was scared. I know I didn't do good in high school, and I really had no idea how to start. All I had was a homeless waiver. So I went to Miami-Dade College because I knew with my academic history and discipline in the past, I wouldn't be accepted elsewhere. So going to Miami-Dade College seemed like a great idea. And when it came to applying at Miami-Dade College, I did face some boundaries when it came to admissions and financial aid because they weren't accepting my paperwork and they were giving me the runaround. You need to go here, you need to go there, and you need to seek out this person to finish filling up, signing up. And after all of that, it still didn't really work. So I had to keep calling my people. And I remember even Deborah referred me to Educate Tomorrow. And Educate Tomorrow was only found at Wolfson campus in downtown Miami, although I was living in Homestead. So I would have to wake up in the morning, get on a bus, get on the Metro Rail, and spend money that I really had to save for food and for my bills to make it to Homestead every single morning, to make it to downtown every single morning to get to school. But it was something that I don't regret doing at all because now I know that with my education comes more opportunities. And so from there on, after I got paired with Educate Tomorrow, I remember things just got a lot easier and I started to get on the right path. And on the first day of school, I was meeting with Wendy Joseph at Educate Tomorrow. And I was in her office and this gentleman who I had no clue who he was just walks into the office to let her know something, and I stood up to shake his hand. Little did I know he was the dean of students of Miami-Dade College, who then took a huge interest in me because never before has a student just stood up, shook his hand, and asked him if he needed any help. I had no clue who he was, so he offered me his business card, told me to email him, and we scheduled an appointment. I sent him that email, we scheduled an appointment, and the very next day we met. I shared my story with him, a little of my story with him, and he started to offer help. He offered me a job in the student life department, where I then started working, and started becoming involved in the college, in the community, and with the student body. And this was a little over a year ago, and it's been an experience that has helped develop me into a professional and something that into someone who I never thought I would become. So not only did Miami-Dade College help with the exposure to expose me to all of these opportunities that would develop me into a professional, but getting engaged in the community meant that I was going to volunteer for nonprofit organizations, or should I say for-purpose organizations, such as Style Saves, for example, which is a nonprofit organization that provides clothing, school supplies, and any kind of resource a student would need when attending school. And little did I know, but the dean of students at Miami-Dade College became sort of a mentor to me, who was there to shine light on my ignorance that would really teach me about myself. So now, as I look back, I am somebody who I never imagined I would become. And it's all thanks to Educate Tomorrow and Miami-Dade College. And what I've learned is that there really are no barriers or boundaries other than what I can bring myself. And I just really need to trust in those resources that are there to help. So I'm very thankful and grateful for the opportunities that I've come across and the resources from Educate Tomorrow and Miami-Dade College. And without them, I have no